And plastics have become a headache for the country to deal with. Everywhere you tend to, there are plastics lying around. The plastic bottle, for example, has become a major problem in this country. Today, we are being told by researchers that some of the fish we eat contain microplastics affecting our health negatively. But why are people opting for plastic bottles? John Uses Samuel Kojo-Brace explores alternatives that can help save our environment, prevent flooding, and also address the economic cost of poor environmental practices on our hotline documentary. Here are excerpts for you.
The plastic is very simple to take it everywhere. You can use it to travel safe. But the glass, you cannot use the glass to travel.
James, a trader at Adabraka, telling me his preference between plastic and glass bottles. He tells me plastic bottles are safe for him than glass bottles.
The plastic is good. You see, the plastic, two people cannot use the plastic. Only one person can use the plastic and throw it away. But the glass, you use it, they take it back and go and fill it again. So it will give an infection to people, you understand. But the plastic, you can even throw it away.
David, an entrepreneur, shares this reasoning of the plastic bottle being healthier than the glass bottle.
I like plastic because of the health issue attached to the plastic. The advice given to us on the radio, so it has gone into our mind that preferably plastic is better. If you handle plastic bottle, it can just fall down and then everything's scattered. But for plastic, you can take it back.
But it is not everybody that shares this reasoning. Sam is a regular patron at the popular restaurant in the capital city, Accra. He says with his knowledge of the negative health implications of plastic bottles, he prefers glass bottles.
When it comes to the way we dispose of plastic waste, we don't separate it from the other waste materials. So recycling it becomes a problem, and you go through a lot of cycles to separate them, and cost-wise it's high. So comparing the two, I think bottle will do.
Surprisingly, I came across more people who are alert to the health impact of plastic bottles and are therefore choosing glass bottles.
The main reason why I prefer the glass bottles is that whenever you buy, let's take it for instance, with soda, Coke, and mineral and other stuffs, where they are ready to take the breakable bottles from you. But when it comes to the plastic, when you buy Coke plastic, you take it along, and if there is no substitute for keeping it safe, you realize that they will put it in a gutter, they will put it on the floor, and it becomes dead. You understand? So when it comes to the bottle aspect and the plastic aspect, I think I like the bottle aspect.
So if today there is a ban that let's not produce any plastic bottled product, you would flow with it?
I'll flow with it because probably I believe some years to come, we are going to realize it's going to help us in terms of keeping the city clean. It's going to help the nation very well.
For me, I prefer the glass bottles. You know, with the plastic bottles, it has become a big, let's say a big challenge, and you see that a lot of plastics on the streets. You see a lot of plastics on the street, but it is very difficult to see glass on the streets. Yeah, so I will go for the glass bottle.
So how is this impacting the decision of restaurant operators? Isaac Lai is a supervisor at Champion Dishes at Adabraka. He says people consider the easy handling of the bottles they choose.
Maybe the person wants to take it out or something, or want to take it home. The person cannot, most of the glass bottles you cannot take it out, but with the plastic ones you can take it out. Yeah, but most of the people who come to champion the shade too, they prefer the plastic bottle because most of them, what they say is that the plastic bottle is easily to handle. And with that one, you can take it out. But for the glass bottles, when you need to drink it and then leave the bottle here.
To him, some people also do consider the health impact of the two before choosing.
You know, the plastic one, when it's easy, after taking the drink, you dispose the bottle. You need to put it in the bin or something. But with the glass one, what most of them have in mind is that with the glass one, after taking in the drink, it will be sent to the company. The bottles will be sent to the company, and then maybe they need to go through a process of cleaning. Yeah, they need to clean it and stuff before they can refill and then cover it again. But with the plastic one, now after they've taken the drink, they will dispose it. They have to put it in the bin, and then after everything, you have to put it in the bin. And when they put it in the bin, with that one, it will be disposed into. They will throw it away or something, or it will be taken to a recycle place for them to. Yeah.
There you have it, excerpts of plastic garbage. It's airing here on the Joy News channel. You might want to be on the lookout for it tomorrow when we bring you that full package. But already this documentary is beginning to draw a lot of reactions. The eco-conscious citizens are wading in, asking the government to initiate policy measures to check this crisis of our time. Awula is the founder and coordinator of the Eco-Conscious Citizens. Hi, Awula, Happy New Year, and welcome to the Pulse once again. So what should we be doing, and what should we be opting for, actually? Glass bottles or plastics?
Happy New Year. Thank you for having me. I would go for glass bottles. And I would say that many countries, Bangladesh, Eritrea, a lot of East Africa have banned single-use plastics. And indeed, in places like Rwanda, it's a criminal offense to import or bring it in your suitcase or anything like that. And as your documentary clearly shows, plastic bottles are causing a lot of problems. In fact, Bangladesh banned plastic because of flooding. They realized that the drains were choked with plastic bottles and were contributing towards plastic. So apart from the fact that the fish may be ingesting plastics, apart from the fact that the whole place gets very untidy, there's also a question of flooding when your drains are full of plastic waste. So let's deal with the issue of concrete policy measures. Where do we start off from? Some say, well, the behavioral pattern, so there's a need for us to rather influence choices instead of opting for the policy approach. You can take a variety of measures. First of all, the problem with plastic is more a question of indiscipline and lack of enforcement. Whether it's plastic bottles you're using or glass bottles, if you are disciplined, you would not be throwing the plastics all over the place. But then again, if there was enforcement going on and you were slapped with fines, you would stop. Let me give an example of Korea. A contact went to South Korea over 20 years ago, and there everybody is equipped with something like a flask. So when you want to drink water and there's a dispenser, you don't go for disposable cups, or you don't go and buy single plastic bottles. You use your flask or whatever, and you fill your flask with it. So that's how they got rid of the problem of plastic bottles. So you don't see plastic bottles anywhere because every individual has their own flask or whatever that they use for water. And therefore you're not going to throw it away because you keep using the same thing. So that's the kind of solution they've put in place. And also there should be fines. If you are irresponsible enough to litter, you should be dealt with. And of course, we need to do more recycling if we are not banning single-use plastics, which some countries have done. You need to make sure that the waste is segregated, and then you need to have many areas where you can put plastic bags there, and they'll be collected. Or another way out is to pay people when they bring in plastic bottles. There are companies like CES Recycling who recycle plastics, and then there's a company, Nel Plus Ghana, which makes plastic building blocks out of discarded plastics. But I'm not quite sure how well they are doing and how well they're being supported.
Some have pointed to the issue of cost as a big challenge to driving this change. How do we address that as well?
Well, I don't know what costs we are comparing, because if you look at the costs we are facing through how unsightly and dirty the city is, there was talk about making Accra not a clean city, but surprisingly the cleanest when we have cities like Kigali, which are cleaner. But if you really look at the cost of cleaning up, the cost of our country being so dirty and the diseases that come from so much filth, if you look at the flooding we get sometimes and the cost to lives, because people do die as a consequence of flooding. And I did say that the clogging of our drains is a contributory factor. I'm not quite sure what cost we are looking at. How do we weigh lives and the future poisoning of our system, because we are eating fish and other things that have taken in plastics. In fact, one reason why Tanzania banned plastics, because they found out that the cattle had been ingesting plastics, and they realized that the only way forward was to ban plastics. And since they did so, the problem has improved. So when you are looking at cost, what cost are you looking at? Are you looking at the cost to our health? Because I think that is something that is quite fundamental.
Well, I was looking at the cost in terms of packaging and how convenient it is. That's where the argument is coming from.
Well, you see, you have to just do what needs to be done to protect your health. You need to do, and we have to remember that when did plastics gain such currency? There was a time when we didn't have plastics. We managed very well, thank you very much. And what we need to do is to look at ways of replacing plastics with biodegradable material, which is not going to be a cost to the environment. Because mind you, as we speak, our landfills are getting full because all sorts of things are taken there. We shouldn't be taken there. So when I'm looking at the cost, I'm saying that it's a cost worth looking at if it's to protect our environment and to protect our health.
And very finally, the issue of making Accra the cleaner city in Africa. If we're to deal with this plastic menace, do you feel that we would have dealt with over 50% of the challenge?
Yes, I think that we should be realistic and think of making Accra a clean city. All this about the cleanness, I'm not quite sure how realistic it is. But yes, if we were to get rid of plastics, single-use plastics, I think we will be going a long way towards making a country, and indeed Accra, a city, a much cleaner place. But let me say that what we need to deal with is enforcement. We need to ensure that our citizenry is more responsible. There's absolutely no reason why you should throw anything on the floor, whether it's a plastic or a food peel or whatever. Let's be responsible. And bins should be provided, but even where there are no bins, it's not an excuse to litter. So yes, removing plastics will remove a lot of the litter, but I'm saying that to go further, we need to be disciplined and we need to learn something called enforcement, which we seem to be allergic to, and enforce our bylaws, because it is a crime to litter. Why is it not being enforced?
Awula, we'll see you again, but for now, I'll leave it here. Thank you for joining us here on The Pulse, and that's